Oh, my apologies, Deputy Kenny. Sorry, my apologies.
Thank you, Lescan. First of all, there's a number of issues around this that certainly spring straight to mind from my point of view. I was contacted in late 2016 by a constituent minister about her daughter, and she told me the situation that her daughter sent me an email about it, about her daughter travelling on a bus with her friends to a disco, and when she arrived there, while some on the bus had been drinking, to an underage disco, she was brought down and dragged down an alleyway by a number of boys, and she was sexually assaulted. And one of the boys in the midst of this said, "No, stop this," wanted to stop it, pulled away. And all of it was on CCTV cameras. There were witnesses. The Gardaí were called. The girl was taken to the hospital. All the evidence was there. And yet, to the dismay of her mother and the dismay of herself, it was the juvenile programme. These 3 lads were sent to and received only a caution. The girl, and it says at the end of the email here, it destroyed her life as a result. She suffered from post-traumatic stress and she failed her Leaving Cert. And yet, when she looked on Facebook with her friends, she's seen these lads that have done this, enjoying themselves in the community. And everything was fine in their lives. And yet her life had been destroyed. And this particular mother has really, over the last 2 years, done an awful lot of work. And really her point here is that sexual assault should not be, regardless of the age, sexual assault should not be part of this programme. And that something needs to be done to recognise that. That the level of distress and horror, and we often say that people are in the horrors, that this family have been in the horrors since this happened a number of years ago. And this particular girl, her younger siblings, who are now teenagers and are grown up, have grown to know about this. And their mother is worried that if they meet these lads out in a bar or in a disco or something, that there'll be a row and that more bad things will happen as a consequence of it. And really, at the core of it all is that it was not dealt with appropriately. Appropriately from the point of view of the victim or the victim's family, or indeed of the perpetrators. And when I heard a week or 2 ago of this case coming up before the policing authority and what had happened, I just brought it all back to me. I said, "Jeez, I raised this with Francis Fitzgerald 2 years ago. And I was told that the diversion programme was a great programme. Everything was fine." So, at some point or other, responsibility has to be taken here as to how this has happened. And the one thing that I think needs to come out of it is that sexual assault cases cannot go down this path. And I would say that to you directly, Minister. And, I would like the Minister himself or yourself or both of you to meet this particular woman, to talk to her about what her experience has been. And I think if you do that, then maybe you'll start to do the right thing around this. And I'm not particularly blaming yourself or the Minister there present, but certainly this is a situation that has gone on for many, many years. Now, I also talked to a number of other constituents who had similar experience, not at all as severe or as problematic as that, but similar situations where young people had carried out serious crimes in the community and they felt that they were not at all dealt with appropriately. And, I understand the Gardaí are under stress and at times are under-resourced, and we have all those issues going on as well. But when you see systematic failure, and that's what we see here, it needs to be acknowledged, and somebody needs to stand up and say, this needs to end. So that's the one thing I'm asking for, Minister, to come out of this, is a serious sexual assault. And this was a serious sexual assault, and I understand there's a number of others in this. That can no longer be dealt with in regard to the juvenile diversion programme.